Awesome. Okay, so I made a slight mistake earlier when we were looking at like the introduction of Discord. You guys remember Discord from the beginning of season 1? And what's cool with Discord is like he's basically like the Lord of Chaos, which is awesome, and he like just leads like the entire world in terms of just like destroying things and being like super cool. And so what's cool is like, remember he when I first presented him, I presented him like he actually got turned like to stone, but in reality he actually kind of like escaped purgatory. He just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and when they first met him, he was causing tons of chaos everywhere, right? He was like chocolate rain everywhere, basically destroying the whole world. And so the main six, when they first found him, they actually used the elements of harmony to turn him into stone. And then there's this episode much later on, where they actually reverse the process, where they unturn him from stone. But you guys didn't really miss much. It was just like a huge fight, basically, for the introduction of the season. The biggest takeaway from that was there was like this big maze that everybody got put into. And in this maze, everyone was separated. And instead of working together as a team, right, instead of having this collective mastermind where they were able to connect and use their relationships as fuel for their growth and their development and their success, this was destroyed, right? Discord destroyed this. How did he destroy this? He separated them in this maze. And as soon as you separate, the group, they're much weaker, right? Because remember, the individual is much weaker than the overarching group. And so that's how Discord kind of solos out a lot of these, of the main six in that earlier season premiere, and then sort of weakens them, takes away their magic, destroys their power, and then they have to go through this whole magical spell process to reunite under the elements of harmony and come together to face Discord and turn him into stone with their magic, right? And so he gets turned into stone. And so this is the episode where he like actually gets unstoned, and where Fluttershy befriends him and stands by his side while everybody else really just pisses on him. Because again, when he was originally introduced in the series premiere in season 2, he basically like tried to take over the world, and he like really got really close to it. He destroyed it's tons and tons and tons of stuff, just caused a ton of chaos everywhere. The only way that the main six could stop him was to like literally turn him into stone, which is it's a really bad situation to be in. And so just like a little bit of a background, I glanced over it on accident, but you didn't miss too much. It was just the biggest concept from it was you need to stick with the team, and you're more powerful together than you can ever be alone. And then after that, once they actually got back together, they were able to defeat their enemy, right? So they defeated their enemy only once they collected back together as a group, and they were able to destroy all the negative emotions, because he filled this maze with negative emotions. He filled this maze with negativity. He filled this maze with a bad environment. And so only when they were able to come back together as a group that was happy and a team that was ready to succeed together in a positive environment were they able to actually overcome Discord and turn him into stone, so that he could, was no longer a threat to them and to the world around them. So that was the huge takeaway. And so as he's freed here for the first time, just want to have this background in your mind, because like he originally was a pretty freaking bad guy, and he like seriously just, he just tried to take over the world. It was not the best situation for anybody. So with that said, we're moving in now into Keep Calm and Flutter On, and this is where they release Discord. And a little bit more important than that is this Fluttershy really stands out from the crowd and says, "Look, I will protect Discord. He will be my friend. I will not use my element against him." And then all that stuff we talked about earlier. So what I want to do now is really show the clip of the ice skating rink, because it's so powerful, and it's crazy cool. So let's do that now.
Where are you going? What's wrong, pal?
Don't call me your pal.
Oh, come skating with me, and we'll let bygones be bygones.
Here you go, Fluttershy. Game on. He fixes this or he goes back to being stone. Princess Celestia will understand. I made a promise not to use my element against him, and I'm going to keep it.
You see? She wants to have fun with me because we're friends. She can't use the elements against me because we're friends. I'm free forever.
Not your friend!
Who cares? I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm Discord, the master of chaos. You think you can boss Discord around? You think I'm just going to turn all this back because you say so? Because if I don't, I'll lose the one friend I ever had? Oh. Oh. Well played, Fluttershy. Well played. I like it better my way, but I guess when you're friends, you can't always have things exactly your way all the time. Eh?
So huge, so big. Everything changes in this guy's entire freaking life because he embraces the power of the friends around him. And he realizes that instead of focusing on all this negative stuff and bad vibes, if he actually creates relationships and makes friends, wins friends, he can influence people not through force, not through brute power, but by being at a one-on-one and with a strong connection with them. And he realizes he can have fulfillment in his life, not through destruction and hurting others, but instead by having a peaceful, tranquil world where instead he lives with those who appreciate him. And he finds total gratitude. He's so thankful for this ability to connect with friends and to fundamentally shift his entire background to one of self-indulgent, impulsive actions to one where he's actually serving a greater purpose and working towards a greater goal of goodness because of his strong and beneficial relationships that impact literally every single aspect of his life and positively affect everything that he does from this point forward in the show. And it really reverses his position as, quote, the bad guy for a pretty long time. So we'll see how that develops over time. But again, very, very important character, Discord, and one of the most powerful transformations from just totally lost and completely evil to somebody who is ridiculously happy and embracing the power of friendship, which is awesome. So, how to make people like you instantly. Super powerful stuff, and very cool. So there's kind of like how to make people like you instantly. So there's kind of like two major parts to this, and the first one's the most important. And it's give sincere and honest praise. Remember, everyone loves to feel significant. Everyone wants to be important, and the best way to do that is to give them sincere and honest praise, sincere, honest appreciation, thanks, well-being, gratitude. All the nouns, all the verbs, everything that you know is so powerful. If you can give that to somebody, if you can say, wow, if you can point out, here's a really great example. I have so many people that work for me, and you can tell, there's a huge difference between me saying, great job, and me saying, I really like the way that you edited that sound clip when you put it in on the second verse in the third clip of the video. Because when you point out something sincere and honest through specificity, all of a sudden, that compliment is worth so much more than bogus or generic crap. I can send out a mass text message to hundreds of contacts and say, have the best day ever. Or I could spend 5 seconds saying, you know what, first name, I really like X about you. Have an amazing day. Which one do you think is going to be more sincere, more honest, and give more praise to them? It's the personalized one, right? Now, obviously, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you have to allocate your time effectively. But if you can master this one single concept, everything changes. Because all of a sudden, you have a genuine connection with people you're working with, And because of that, you can have huge impact in your life and the lives of others by focusing on honest and sincere appreciation. So with that said, the other part of this is you cannot, under any circumstance, and I hate saying this, I don't like to say don't do something, because like what you focus on, you attract. And so please understand, like when I say don't do this, like I don't want you to focus on what I'm about to write, because what you focus on, you'll attract. But I do want you to have this in your head, and because it's really, really, really important, and it's a huge overarching concept that'll really help you grow. So don't criticize, condemn, or complain. In no normal situation will criticizing somebody or something or a way of life or an idea help you. It'll just drag you down. Similarly, in no circumstance will condemning someone, somebody, an idea, a person, an image, anything, in any way help you. It'll just drag you down. Lastly, in no way will complaining help you. Excuses don't help. Complaining is BS. It will never help you. You can't complain, you can't condemn, and you can't criticize. You need to give sincere and honest praise that's specific and shows somebody that you appreciate them. Okay? Sound cool? Sound awesome? That's huge. Huge, 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 huge. So let's kind of move into the next one, which is just for sidekicks. Now, this is actually like super fun. So Spike, he really, really wants to he's a dragon, right? And so he really likes eating gems. Like gems are like his primary source of food. And so like he really likes food, and so he wants to eat gems. Now the problem is like gems are kind of expensive because they're gems. And so because of that, he's at the beginning of the episode, he's like baking a cake, and he's like trying to bake a cake with all these gems. And his problem is like as he bakes the cake, and maybe you guys have had this happen to you, he just eats all the gems while he's like whipping up the dough. And so by the time he like finishes making the dough, there's no gems to put in the cake because he ate all the gems because he really likes gems. So slight problem. And so he realizes he needs a little bit of extra gem, extra. I mean, basically it's money, but symbolically it's gems. And so Fluttershy comes over to Twilight's house and says, hey, I'll give you this super big gem that looks very delectable to Spike if you watch her bunny, right? So if Spike watches the little bunny here, I think it's a boy. His name is Angel. So if he watches Angel, then she'll give him this huge gem. Because basically what's happening is the main six, they're all going to the Crystal Empire for the next episode, which is kind of the what we'll go through in the next episode. But they're all getting on a train basically to go over to the Crystal Empire. And so because of that, they all need Spike to watch their pets. So he gets Tank, the turtle, and the cat, Rarity's cat, Owlicious, Applejack's dog. I mean, he basically gets like everybody's pets. And in exchange for his pet sitting services, he gets a ton of gems, which he's super happy about because he really, really likes gems. Because again, that's like what he eats to survive, which is pretty cool. And so he does what any smart guy would do, and he finds child laborers. He gets the CMC, and he takes Scootaloo, Applejack, Sweetie Belle. He says, "Hey guys, you should watch these pets for the rest of the day, please. Thank you." And so he just kind of gives the pets to them, and they go out and they like try to walk them, and it's a pretty big mess pretty quickly, but not a huge deal. They just kind of like run everywhere and create huge havoc and mess everywhere while Spike tries to make his cake. So little bit of a lesson here. Maybe, be responsible when you outsource things and make sure you have the right employees or whatever, so that you don't have a huge mess like this. Because what happens is all the animals run back to their owners and they like jump on the train, and then Spike has to follow all of them on the train, and they have to like hide underneath the seats so that the main six don't like see them like being ridiculously irresponsible with their pets. So they hide under the seats. And And then they get to like the destination, and they get to the Crystal Empire, and they're running wild everywhere, and it's a huge mess. Then they have to all come back home, and it's some mayhem, right? And it's mayhem because of the way Spike handled taking care of all of these pets. See, at the beginning, like, he really, really did try to like take care of everybody, but it was just such a mess, right? Like all the pets were going crazy. He really kind of took in more than he could chew because he really wanted the gems, right? And you see this happen, right? Like, you take on extra clients, you take on extra work, you take on, extra whatever because you want the reward that comes with that. And that's exactly what Spike did. But he just was not prepared to handle it. He could handle it. Yes, he could handle it. Here are his limits, right? Like, this was well within his limits. But he was focused on something else. He wasn't 100% in with these pets. He was focused on making this gem cake because that's what he was passionate about, and that's what he really, really wanted to eat. And so because he was focused on that, was not focused on what really mattered, and instead let 3 kids take care of what really mattered got messed up really quickly. And so because it got messed up really quickly, he had to improvise fast. Because all of a sudden, he was not able to fulfill the life that he really needed. And he could not make this connection that he needed with the animals, with the pets, with the work. It didn't really matter how you phrase it. Like, the important thing is he was fundamentally unable to do what needed to get done. And because of that, the job fell away, the work got destroyed, the animals ran away, and it was just this huge mess because of the way he handled it. So you've got to make sure, like, when you enter these new products, when you enter these new situations, like, make sure you have the best team possible. You want to spend lots of time developing and hiring the best people possible, because when you have the best team possible, all of a sudden it's handled professionally, it's handled well, and you can go and do whatever you need to do instead of giving it off to people that just aren't qualified. And furthermore, like, taking on more than you can handle. Like, he could handle just a couple of pets and have a couple of gems, but he got kind of greedy and really, really hungry and took on just too much, more than he could chew. And because of that, it just destroyed everything that he was doing and crushed his empire, right? His family. Everything was gone because he was not able to take care of these guys, which it sucks. But that's, exactly what happened. So, got to make sure when you enter these new situations, when you have these new opportunities, you size up yourself, you size up the opportunity, you size up the potential, and you think, like, what's the potential for gain here? What's the potential for loss here? What's the upside? What's the downside? What could really happen if this went all in the way it's supposed to go? And if it doesn't work out, how will it immediately impact, myself, and kind of more importantly, the immediate people around me, like the people he's serving, If these pets, like, got lost or they got harmed, these guys would be freaking out. And so he's really got to focus on, like, the whole, it's this idea of, like, the whole group, right? So, like, if anything happens to these pets, like, they're going to be a serious problem. And so you got to think about the impact it has on everyone when they go into this situation. And more specifically, when he focuses on personal greed, personal gain outside of this bubble versus, actually contributing to everybody by focusing on what really has an impact and what really matters by doing the best job possible and finding the best person possible for this position, right? So huge concepts there, and you want to make sure that you apply those, when you're working for other people, but kind of more immediately when you start to get other people to work for you. So it goes both ways. Very powerful stuff. And, definitely, like, go all in, right, and try to do more and try to be more and try to succeed more. And make sure, remember, you're doing it at your individual pace, and it's all, what you can follow up with and what you can handle. Because if you get in a bad situation like this, where you just can't handle it, because you have no experience whatsoever, it's bad for everybody involved. And so you want to make sure that you're taking on challenges and you're doing what you can't do, but it's like a responsible way. It's not going to have like a negative impact. And this one, it worked out okay at the end of the episode. He just ate all of his gems before he could bake his cake again and ran out of gems. And everyone went home happy. But you got to focus on, make sure you're not screwing up big time, because that's not a good thing to do, Cool. So here's like the other flip side of that episode. So you got the main six, and they're going to the Crystal Empire, because the Crystal Empire, they have like, it's basically the Olympics. So they have like the Olympics, right? And they're picking out, the location for, the Equestria Games. And there's a scout, and the scout is coming to the Crystal Empire, and the scout is, going to determine whether or not the Crystal Empire should be the, host for, the Olympics. And so the Crystal Empire, they have like their big tower in the middle, and then they also built this brand new, like, ginormous athletics field, which they want to use for the Equestrian Games, right? And so the main six come to greet the Equestria Games representative, who's going to meet them so that they can come together, show her a good time, show her the new facilities, and let her know, hey, look, this is our games. This is, what we have. This is all the cool stuff. This is why, we have the coolest place ever, and why you should totally let us be the host for the Equestrian Games, because, it's their dream, right? Like, this is a dream come true if they could host the games here and be part of it, which is just what they really, really want. And so they take the train, everyone gets there, and at the train station, they meet this one pony. I don't know exactly how they have this mix up, but this is basically just like some random pony. It's not the Equestria Games inspector, like, at all. There were like two people that got off the train besides the main six, and it was this pony and then the Equestrian Games inspector. And so they just kind of assume that this is the Equestrian Games inspector. And so they take her and they tour the castle with her, and they do like this whole like cheerleading routine with her. I mean, it's just a lot. It's crazy. And so they show her like the best time ever, and they walk her through, this whole new exhibit, the fields, everything that they should be showing the Equestrian Games inspector. They're showing this, stranger, right? Because they think that this is her, right? So she has like the best time ever, while the person who's the real Equestrian Games inspector is just walking around through the streets, totally lost, and feeling completely disrespected because nobody met her at the station to actually walk her through the facilities and the situations. And what's interesting is as they start to go through this process with this lady, like, she's like super claustrophobic. So she's like constantly running away from the main six and trying to get outside. And like they realize like there might be something up here. What's going on? And after they give like her the entire tour for the whole day, and they go around the whole empire and show her everything there is, they go to the spa. She goes to the spa, and they start to realize, like, whoa, I think we just gave the tour to the wrong pony, which is a serious problem, and they're freaking out because like they care about this a lot, and it matters so much to them that they get the right person, touring the exhibit and learning about all the cool new facilities so that they can host the Equestrian Games and it can like actually work. And they put all their energy, all their effort. I mean, they like had a whole routine. Everything they did was for this one lady who literally had never met them before and had no clue why they were doing this for her. But she just rode along with it, went along with the game, went along for the fun, and let it happen. And as soon as she did that, I mean, she went through like the whole charade. Everything that was intended for the Equestrian Games inspector went to her. And so she had like the best day of her life, going through basically like a royal entry, a royal greeting to this society and to, basically like the entire empire. And so she, at the end of the day, she goes to the spa, okay? And Ms. Harshwin, the Equestrian Games inspector, also goes to this spa. And they sit next to each other in the spa. They don't know who they are. And the Equestrian Games inspector is just like pooped. And she's like whining about how she was supposed to have like this grand introduction today because she's so important and the Equestrian Games and all that great stuff. And the pony that they met and accidentally gave the tour to sits next to her and says, "Oh, no way, that's crazy. I just had this insane welcome party." And she tells her like all about this huge journey that she went through and all the amazing things the main six showed her and taught her and all the awesome facilities and all of it's just all the pros, everything that was so awesome about this huge tour. And she was so elated because she was a total stranger to these people. And they put everything they had on her because they wanted to get the Equestria Games in place. Now, there's kind of like two things to take away from this, and then one, and what happens next is interesting. The first thing, though, is that these guys, they made a decision quickly. They decided quickly that they were going to introduce this woman at the train station to the Crystal Empire. And as soon as they made their quick decision, they executed on it completely and went all in on this lady. Now, this is such an important trait of leaders. It can't be emphasized enough. You must decide what you want to do quickly and stick with that decision. And that's exactly what they do. If they got halfway through this tour and realized that they were touring the wrong pony, what happens next would not happen. Like, they would have total failure. It'd be a total misery. Like, everything would go wrong. But what actually happens? Well, what actually happens is this pony tells the Equestria Games Inspector about how amazing everything was, and just based off of what she says in the spa, she decides that they're going to host the Equestrian Games and that this is a cool place and that they're ready for it. Not because she had the actual tour, but because she heard the person who had the tour talk about it. She approves it all. Now, if they go halfway through this tour and they realize it's the wrong person, and they don't go all in on her, then there's no freaking way that this conversation happens. And everything crumbles away because they had the wrong person and they didn't go all in on that wrong person. You've got to go all in on the work that you do and the people that you connect with, because the instant that you do that, everything changes. Everything is all in on her. And there was a complete shift away from halfway, away from midpoint, away from mediocre. And instead, they go to this whole new level of growth, this whole new level of experience where they are vastly outperforming, outserving, and outgiving their energy to this one single target. In the instant that you can give 150% as a group and as a team, remember, as a group, it's so much more powerful, especially as you start to get up to these higher energy levels. You start to give more and more and more and more. The instant that you do that, everything changes here. And they start to achieve the success that they desire, and they attract what they wanted because they went all in on their presentation, and it just so happened to work out with the right connection and the right pony at the end of the day. You just got to let things work out, because most of the time they do. And just a little cool thing about like the area and a frame of reference, like this is what the crystal ponies look like. So they're like made out of crystal. And so they look really, really cool. And so that's probably like another reason that they thought this was a really cool place for the games. And this is them having their spa treatments. Like you can see, like they can't even see each other. But again, they're just sharing their experiences. And they look very similar. I think they got confused because of the suitcases, which are very similar. That's kind of what got them confused. But the important thing to note here is that like they're not biased and they're not like influenced personally. Like it's just a neutral connection that just happened to become a reality, because if you put out, good thoughts, good energies, good vibes, and quality actions into the universe, just like the main six did when they gave this stranger a tour, like those are going to come back to you. And that's exactly what happens here with this, moment of luck, but in reality, it's not luck, it's energy coming back to them. And it's this work that they've done, that they did, it pays off because they went all in. That's just the most crucial part. And that's what you kind of see as these two talk in the spa. And here's everybody happy because they get to host the Equestrian Games and everyone's having the best time of their lives. And you can see they're all like crystal pony. It's just the best time ever. It's awesome. And then this is from the last episode. So remember, they actually have to hide under the trade on the way back because they did a very bad job at managing all the pets, and now they're all super scared because they all ran away, which sucks. So when TV series have like 65 episodes, they can sell the rights to like television stations and channels and networks. And so this season it's only 17 episodes. because this is the 65th episode, and so this is kind of where they took a break and said, okay, well, how are we going to develop the lights and the rights? I mean, it's just basic, capitalism, right? Like, this is the point where they're really able to, like, monetize the show and turn it into a reality globally, and really scale it up. So that's sort of why everything kind of ends early here, and some really cool things happen. So it's just a normal, happy day. Everyone's doing great. It's best time ever. And then Twilight's walking around, and she realizes that for some reason, the main 6, they've all switched cutie marks. Like, people have they have different cutie marks. You can kind of see in this picture, like, everyone's got other people's cutie marks, and so they basically like switch life roles with each other, and they are hopelessly lost because they're very, very bad at what the other people are good at, right? It's this idea that they split up this wheel 6 times, and you have everybody focusing on what they're best at, what their unique ability is, and when they do that, they are able to just completely ignore their weaknesses and focus only on their strengths. And so what happens is, apparently like a spell went wrong. So Celestia tells Twilight that there was some kind of spell that she was trying to fix that like changes cutie marks. And so Twilight was working on it late at night, and she cast it, and she didn't really know what happened. But then she wakes up the next day, and everybody has like mixed up cutie marks, and it's just messed up all of their lives, and they're totally confused, and no one knows what to do. And to really kind of express this confusion and to show you kind of what's going on, we're going to go to the magic of music.
These animals don't listen, no, not one little bit. They run around out of control and throw their hissy fits. It's up to me to stop them, 'cause plainly you can see it's got to be my destiny, and it's what my cutie mark is telling me.
I try to keep them laughing, put a smile upon their face, but no matter what I try, it seems a bit of a disgrace. I have to entertain them, it's there for all to see. It's got to be my destiny, and it's what my cutie mark is telling me.
I don't care much for picking fruit and plowing fields ain't such a hoot. No matter what I try, I cannot fix this busted water chute. I've got so many chores to do, it's no fun being me, but it has to be my destiny, 'cause it's what my cutie mark is telling me.
Looky here at what I made, I think that it's a dress. I know it doesn't look like much, I'm under some distress. Could y'all give me a hand here and help me fix this mess? My destiny is not pretty, but it's what my cutie mark is telling me.
I'm in love with weather patterns, but the others have concerns, for I just gave them frostbite over top of their sunburns. I have to keep on trying, for everyone can see it's got to be
My destiny,
My destiny,
and it's what my cutie mark.
it's what my cutie mark, yes, it's what my cutie mark is telling me.
So they're all ridiculously confused because their fundamental sense of identity is in, like what they do is based in their cutie mark. And so as they, change cutie marks, what it does is it literally like changes their entire personalities and their whole functions and roles in life. And they're just so confused. They have no clue what to do. Because they're just lost. And this is why, if you try to force something in, like you've got to try things, right? You have to try so many different things over and over and in different aspects of your life, right? Because you're not going to get it on the first try. And you figure out pretty freaking quickly, like if it doesn't work, if something is not working, like you can't just keep pounding against the brick wall for 50 years if it's not your strength. You got to move on to really that next thing and go on that growth curve, right? Up, take a step back, up, take a step back, up, take a step back, up. It's this idea of principles, and more importantly, this idea of like personal development that comes over time. So what happens, right? So Twilight is, element of magic. She's the princess. She's freaking like best pony ever for magic. So what she does is she basically finds a spell, figures out how to reverse it, and so she like casts a spell on her friends, and then so we'll go through the process right now of how she like actually solves this hot mess.
It worked! It worked! Oh, I'm so happy you're back to normal.
Now we need your help.
A true, true friend helps a friend in need. A friend will be there to help them see. A true, true friend helps a friend in need to see the light that shines from a true, true friend.
Hello? Friend trapped inside, remember?
Rarity needs your help. She's trying hard, doing what she can.
Would you try? Just give it a chance. You might find that you'll start to understand.
A true, true friend helps a friend in need. A friend will be there to help you see. A true, true friend helps a friend in need to see the light that shines from a true, true friend.
What just happened? There's no time to explain, but we need your help. Applejack's trying to make dresses. Say no more.
Applejack needs your help. She's trying hard, doing what she can. Would you try? Just give it a chance. You might find that you'll start to understand. A true, true friend helps a friend in need. A friend will be there to help them see. A true, true friend helps a friend in need to see the light that shines from a true, true friend.
Oh my, what a terrible dream I had. Or maybe I'm still having it. Rarity, Pinkie Pie's about to lose the apple farm. We need Applejack's help.
Lose the apple farm? Well, we can't let that happen now, can we?
Pinkie Pie is in trouble. We need to get there by her side. We can try to do what we can now, for together we can be her guide. A true, true friend helps a friend in need. A friend will be there to help them see. A true, true friend helps a friend in need to see the light that shines from a true, true friend.
Yeehaw! Now that's more like it. What's next?
The townspeople are furious. We need the old Pinkie Pie back.
I'm on it. I know just the thing.
The townspeople need you, they've been sad for a while. They march around, face a frown, and never seem to smile. And if you feel like helping, we'd appreciate a lot. If you get up there and spread some cheer from here to Canterlot.
Come on, ponies! I want to see you smile!
A true, true friend helps a friend in need. A friend will be there to help them see. A true, true friend helps a friend in need to see the light that shines from a true, true friend.
Like, how cool is that? Oh my god, it's insane. So like, she pulls through, they do amazing, and only because they came together as a group, after the first spell, are they really able to reunite with their true identities, their actual selves. And they see the memories that flow through their mind, they flow through their eyes, and they see everything that they've been wanting in their lives. Because they daisy chain each other, right? So Twilight helps the first one, and then they just keep helping each other and each other again and again, because these relationships are so strong, and as they come together as a group, they do so much more than any individual could do by themselves. And you might be asking, okay, so what's the result of this? Basically, Celestia and Luna and Cadence are like the only alicorns, right? They call them alicorns. And they have like a horn and they have wings. So it's like wings and a horn. That's it. That makes him an alicorn. And because she was able to master this spell and fundamentally grasp the insane power of friendship, what happens after this is Celestia comes in and takes Twilight into like some magical like dream world place and says, you are ready. You've passed the test. You've freaking made it happen with one of the most complex spells in history. And you understand the power of the mastermind, the power of friendship. And because of that, it's time for you to move on to a new leg of your life. So she descends down from the heavens, from this magical world, and becomes an alicorn. Fundamentally, the highest level accomplishment that anyone could have. And she gets it immediately. The praise of the whole town is upon her. She is literally a princess now, and it fundamentally shifts everything in her life because it shows and it actualizes that she has achieved this growth and she has mastered friendship and became one of the most powerful beings like on the planet, thanks to the group that fuels her and that allows her to grow and grow and grow and succeed and move forth into new and insane adventures throughout the rest of her life. So that's just, it's a huge transition, and this massive, massive achievement all comes because she was able to work with her friends to solve a problem together and to succeed as a group. It's so powerful, and that's really the huge takeaway here, is that you can achieve so much. This is what people, in the world like would spend their whole lives fantasizing about and never get, and she just freaking did it, which is sick. And this is her being crowned, a new freaking like princess, and an alicorn, and it's like the best day ever of her life. And this is what like literally everyone on the planet dreams of, and it comes to her. And if you look, like she's standing there alongside her friends. The only reason that she gets here is because she's with her friends. Her friends as a group. It's only as a group did they make it to this peak potential. They have this huge achievement. And Twilight's just like a symbol of all of their work and all of their efforts and everything they do. It's manifested in Twilight, but it's all of them at the same time because all of them grow together. None of it's a one-on-one basis. It's all of them together. And another important note here to look at, especially as you look at mentorship, this idea that like Twilight started at ground zero, just like everybody else. But she surrounded herself with Celestia, right? She surrounded herself with her sister-in-law, Cadence. And these were both, the two of the three, alicorns on the planet, And so she put herself in an environment where the people around her were above her, and the people around her were pulling her up towards them, towards becoming an alicorn, towards having this achievement. And then she freaking got there because of the work that she did to do this. So surround yourself with people that are going to pull you up and that have the achievements that you desire. She meets and hangs out with and spends tons and tons of time with alicorns far before she actually becomes one, because she's preparing herself to deserve this status, and she's putting in her mind seedlings that will grow and grow and grow over the years as she builds these relationships and these friends that position her as ready to have this success. It all comes from this growth and from this mentorship and from this coaching from Celestia, from Cadence, and just a little bit from Luna, but mostly those two. And they drag her up. They pull her up. She's holding onto the rope, and they're pulling her up to the future, to that higher level achievement, to becoming an alicorn and having the massive success that she desires. So, super powerful stuff. And we're going to finish off day one with the song that ends season 3. And it's just so powerful. And I am very thankful for you guys coming here, and I can't wait to see what else we get going.
For absolute certain that everything is certainly falling.
Damn. So there's that. Massive impact, massive success. And that is the first third of the seminar, which is super, super cool stuff. It's like super late. I don't know why I put sorta. It's like insanely late. So I'm gonna go pass out. But I hope that you guys have enjoyed this, had the best time ever. And I will see you right here tomorrow. And hopefully we can get 8 hours of sleep. We'll see. I don't know. I'm going to really book it home, and we'll see if we can make it happen. So thank you guys so much for coming. Have the best night ever. And start to figure out, who could be in your power base. Who could be in this group of friends that you can have that could fundamentally change everything for you by giving you a place to lean on and a goal to move towards as a collective group. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Woo!